Interesting fellow. Apparently, yeah. I mean, just in a brief half an hour of talking with him, he gave me things that I never even contemplated in the way of logistics.
Just 2 minutes out.
Needs 2 minutes out.
Just texted me. There's foot traffic.
Yeah, there's traffic. And then you can't do it.
Yes, I could hardly speak on it. And I was up there Sunday too. Well, I didn't get home until 3 o'clock. Were you up there?
Too expensive.
My sister, Bernice, right there, she's starting to contemplate colleges, and Debbie went there as well as I did, so she wanted to see Penn State.
And
I don't know.
what did you think about it?
I'm sure she was thrilled at the game and the experience. I don't know what she'll ultimately decide. They live in Tennessee, so it'd be a long drive. Plus out of state. So, no.
So where she's
Clarksville, Tennessee. Yeah, right. Yeah. I can't imagine what that's. Georgia has some type of program where my brother was Penn State residents come out to their state universities for graduate degree for no cost or something like that. I don't know how that program works.
Wow.
His two kids went out to Kentucky, University of Kentucky.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Board of Commissioners Budget Workshop meeting together. Proof of publication is available with respect to this meeting. As we always do, we start off with audience participation, but I'd like to make a comment first. Budget workshop is in many ways different from one of our standard meetings. It's basically one subject, and that is the budget. The budget is one of the most important documents that the township has to deal with because it sets the tone for everything we are going to be doing through the coming year. And there are time constraints on when that budget has to be approved, and it needs to be a balanced budget. From the date that it has to be approved, we work backwards to a date that we have our budget workshop. A certain number of days, I think it's approximately a month, 20 days prior to the date of adoption of a budget, a contingency budget, if you will, is adopted by the board, but it sits in state for that 20 days so that anybody from the public can come in, look at it, make comments, make recommendations whatsoever. This meeting is prior to that. It's going to be budgetary information drafted by our staff, led by our township manager, based on overall guidelines that we've given in terms of, throughout the year, if we've said things like, well, this year we'd like to do certain amount of road work, or maybe do something in one of the parks. And our staff will keep that in mind and try to build a budget that includes those kinds of things. I'm going to ask in any audience participation, if anybody has any comments. The usual routine will ask you to go to one of the two microphones, state your name and address for the record. And I'm going to ask, because of the time constraints of the budget requirements, if you would, keep whatever comments brief. And we can go from there. So, does anyone have any comment that they would like to make about anything that's not on the agenda? And what's on the agenda essentially is the budget presentation. Seeing none, I'm going to move on. Yes, ma'am.
Kathleen Cadon, 4713 Delbrook Road, Hampton Township. And I appreciate the township holding this meeting about the 2020 budget. I find that it is odd that we're not allowed to talk about certain items, but we don't know really what's in the budget. The agenda is so vague, so I'm not even sure if I'm going to overlap. Part of the I think I would like to, I would hope that since our township is upgrading our physical structure by erecting a new township building, we will also upgrade our communication structure so the residents can be better informed of township governmental processes and not just promotional events, which are very important for building an inclusive community. Open lines of communication are important to create an inclusive community. Sadly, I feel we are lacking in open communication and transparency. I request that the 2020 budget includes funding to set up a live streaming of Hampton Township Board of Commissioner meetings, as well as the other committee meetings, such as the planning and zoning meetings as well. It is not easy for residents to always attend these meetings, and we noticed that Commissioner Silcox himself had trouble getting to the meeting today. So, you know, this would be really helpful for residents that can't, you know, always get here. And obviously, if we're building a new township building because we have horrible parking, you know, if we had continuous full meetings, you know, the parking situation is not very convenient. And I think that with all the available technology that we have available today, Hampton residents should not have to rely on some commissioners who choose to comment on social media forums such as Nextdoor. You know, this past week I was, I joined Nextdoor years ago, got something in the mail, had no idea what this forum was about. I thought it was about what plumber can you use, who can mow my lawn. And then, you know, I found out this week that, you know, the township commissioners are posting information on there, and it would be really great if they would use the Hampton Township website to communicate with the rest of the residents. You know, that's not, you know, Nextdoor does not encompass all of the residents. So I think we need to focus on, you know, where we should put out our information. And one of the things that I also find dismaying is that I have no way of sending each and every one of my elected officials in Hampton Township an email. There's no email link on the websites. There's no email address listed for you where your biographies are. I had spoke with Keith Metz several years ago about that concern, and I haven't, you know, we have a contact us information that's on the drop-down menu. And on that contact us, you have to click on that, so it's 2 clicks. Okay, why don't we have that contact us on the very front page if we want to hear from our residents and know what's important to them.
Ma'am, just for clarification, there is a citizen request interface portal available on the main page.
Yes, there is. It's a citizen request, other things. But I also think that Cumberland Valley School Board members have emails that their individual constituents can reach out to them. Okay? I think that we should have, that the commissioners should have individual email addresses that we as constituents can individually reach out to them. Okay? We're in 2020, you know.
Ma'am, if you'd like, I'll put my business cards out here, which have my email address.
We
on
all
file.
have email
Feel
addresses.
free to,
But they're not posted for people to know.
I get your concern, but tonight if you need.
Okay,
business
thank
cards,
you.
I'm
It's not
fine.
intentional.
Okay. So,
I have mine too.
Real.
Lots of people have been able to reach me, and I'd be glad to give you mine. I have no
well,
problem.
but the thing is, lots of people, it's only select
We
people.
hear your concern.
Okay, yeah, but I'm just countering the argument that, you know,
I think that's a good suggestion, and I
Mhm.
agree to put mine on the website.
Mhm. And I would also like you to allocate money into the budget to completely pave all the lines on Sporting Hill Road. What the water company did, they dug up the road, okay? It disintegrated and you know, they only paved half of the road. But their work hurt the other half of the road as well. And I don't know what the obligations of the water company are or were. I called the township building twice and they told me, oh, that's the water company, that's not our problem. Okay?
So point of clarification, and I'm not being argumentative, I just wanted to address your point. I understand where you're coming from and completely agree from a project management standpoint, but what's confusing at times is there's township-owned roads that we maintain, and then there's state-owned roads. So Pennsylvania American Water worked on a state-owned road, which is South Sporting Hill Road, as well as Good Hope Road, and PennDOT would have been the one that issued the permit and dictated the type of repairs that were needed to their satisfaction. So that's something that I would suggest perhaps you relay to your state senator and representative about concerns over PennDOT, and certainly I can as well.
Mhm.
But as a constituent, you may wish to do that. We can't spend township dollars on improving or shouldn't state-owned roads.
Okay, so you can't spend township dollars, I understand that. But you commissioners drive this road to every meeting that you come to, okay? So when you saw the finished product, and it was, you know, a segment where they had paving, they painted, and then the other one was faded lines, you know? They didn't, the entrance into the Delbrook Road, you know, heading towards Trindle Road, that stop line is all faded away. And you know, they didn't pave that area, but they still, their work wore away the paving, I mean the paint and everything. So they should have painted at least all of the lines. And you guys drive that all the time to come to these meetings so that you didn't together send a letter of dissatisfaction. You know, you are our elected representatives and should have the best interest of all township residents at heart. And this is like something so basic and small, but it just shows that the lack of interest by you of what you care about in the community. And I also think that I appreciate that we have this opportunity today to make brief statements, and I know I'm going on a little bit longer, but since nobody else has a comment, I also think that it would be, worthwhile for you to hold town halls where you can hear from constituents what their concerns are. I know we have monthly meetings, but they are also very long and in the evening, and it's hard for people to get to them. So I think that would be a way to build community and show that you really care about the residents in Hampden Township. And, it beats communicating on next door than with that. And I would also finally ask the Board of Commissioners to open up all of our parks for dogs, not just one designated park that will be muddy, that we can't walk, as Commissioner Thomas wrote on Nextdoor last evening describing Shrewsbury Park. Okay, so if we have a park that's going to be underwater in marshland part of the time, I don't think it's going to be very accessible for all of the community. So I would hope that Upper Allen Township opens their parks up for all dogs.
On that point, we just opened up Creekview Park as well as Shrewsbury, Veterans Park, as well as Connie Gwinnett Youth Park. Certainly not all the parks are open at this point, regarding your.
Those all can, you have dogs?
That is correct. We
Well, then, okay, so this is part of the communication thing, that I don't understand. I find the website taxing, okay? That I have to make multiple clicks to find out information, you know? And just the fact that we're having a budget meeting today, and I have no information about what the budget is. You know, it would be nice for township residents to come in prepared, to have something read. We have a
That's exactly what this meeting is about. Tonight, to talk about the
This is a preliminary meeting on the budget. The staff will make presentations to us about what their recommendations are. None of us have seen those yet. That's what the budget workshop, that's why it's called a workshop rather
Okay.
than a traditional meeting, so that we can get that information from the
Then will this-
manager and move forward.
Will this information be posted online for people to access that have not been able to attend this meeting?
Once the tentative budget is adopted, which will occur next Wednesday at a public meeting, then that is available for public review before the actual 2020 budget is adopted and enacted.
Okay.
That will be advertised in the Patriot News and made available for public review here at the township.
Okay, and then I have one final question is, why is the survey questions for the pool feasibility study closed?
Dave, you might be able to address that, please?
Sure. So the survey questions were posted for several weeks in August going into September when the project first kicked off. The consultant has to, at some point, gather those answers, gather the data, and form a report. They've submitted a timeline to the township of when they're going to submit a final project and a final recommendation report to the commissioners. And in order for them to finish the project, at some point, those questions have to come down. And that was the timeline that they submitted to us and that was agreed upon.
And the consultant, just to add to that, will also be making a draft presentation to the Board of Commissioners during the meeting next Wednesday. So for the benefit of the public, those of you who are tuning with our meeting schedules, generally speaking, the meetings are held on a Thursday night because of the fact that that falls on the designated trick-or-treat night. I just want everybody that's here to know that that meeting will be held on Wednesday, October 30th at 7:30 p.m. as advertised.
Okay, well,
And to your point, if you have specific recommendations on the pool, feel free to send us an email here. Again, my card is here.
okay.
Feel free to send us an email, and I'll make sure that our staff has that and our consultant has that.
Okay, and the pool, the meetings that are listed about the pool feasibility study, okay, when I saw that listed, there were 2 meetings listed, okay? I couldn't make the other one, and then I thought, so I would assume that the meeting for the second one wasn't about adopting. See, there's no information for people to know.
It's not to adopt, it's for the consultant to provide draft recommendations to the elected officials and for the public to participate in that discussion and hear what the consultant's draft recommendations are.
Okay, so then when you have these draft recommendations, will you open up another public way for people to input information about it?
Certainly we can discuss that with the consultant.
Because, there was no timeline when it would be open and closed, that it would, you just, here's the link, and it doesn't say you need to respond by this date. So people don't know that they don't have, and because the meeting's scheduled for Wednesday the 30th, I thought you could submit comments up until the 30th.
Again, if you have some more comments, please submit them.
No, I understand that, but this all goes to the communication issue
I get
that
what
we
you're
have.
saying. We're always open, available to the public, so please, by all means.
You're always open and available to the public, but it's really hard to figure out how to get to
Well,
us.
I appreciate your concern on that front. We're willing to work with you.
Is there anyone else? Not? Keith, would you like to open up the budget commentary?
Good evening, Commissioners. As you indicated, Commissioner Beanstock, the purpose of tonight is for myself and staff to provide draft recommendations for your consideration. I will not be requesting any action of you this evening relative to the tentative budget that, as indicated earlier, will be considered by each of you in a public meeting next Wednesday at 7:30 here. So for this evening's purposes, you've been provided with your copy of the draft budget that has itemized line items associated.
Just let me ask you, if people are starting to leave, I just wanted to get it. Some people probably want to know what's the bottom line, and that is, are the taxes gonna go up?
No, sir.
Are the sewer rates gonna go up?
No, sir.
Are the stormwater fee gonna go up?
No, sir.
Are the trash bill gonna go up?
Yes, but that was because of a competitive bid and the
I understand.
the lowest bid was awarded.
Okay, those, before, you know, some people came here, what are my taxes gonna be, and so on and so forth, I wanted to get that, thank you,
Sure.
sorry.
No, that's okay. So,
Can I ask a question?
yes,
If you would though, please go to the mic so we can take it.
My name is Township. I'm a little bit unclear. You, at the beginning of the lady's question, you opened the floor by saying items off the agenda.
Yes,
Does that mean anything that has nothing to do with budgets?
yes,
What does that mean? Is that what that means?
yes,
Can I make a comment?
sure.
I'm sorry to take you backwards. I didn't quite understand what was going on. So, my name is Jumoke Kirkwood. I live in Hampden, Township. There was an article in the paper that I read today, and I'd like to ask questions about that. Is that okay? Is this the correct forum for that?
What's your
Okay.
question?
Okay, so in the article published in the Sentinel, there was a statement that I want to check the validity of. It says, I'm sorry, just bear with me a moment. I just want to check. So, in the statement I read, it's talking about Mr. Beinstock.
Beanstalk. Yes,
So
that-
it says, when asked, whether they found the suggestion to be demeaning in retrospect, Beinstock said, in all honesty, no, I do not. So
Ma'am,
is that a statement that is correct?
we're here to talk about township business.
Oh, that's why I asked. That's why I asked
Let me
off
finish
the
my
agenda.
sentence, please.
Okay.
We're here to talk about township business and not political issues. We are prohibited
Oh,
from discussing political issues. We never do in this building. And when people are here at the meetings, we need to keep that same kind of condition.
okay, so that's a political statement.
Yes, it is.
This is not a forum for it.
Correct.
Okay, just if you don't mind, where would be the correct forum for that?
I'm sorry.
Where would be the correct forum for me
If
to
you have a
ask
question of me, you can contact me directly.
directly? Thank you. So I can get your email as well.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Tara Shakespeare. I'm a resident of Lower Allen Township, and I work in Hampden Township. I have a question for all of you. Has everyone been privy to the right-wing limericks that have been
Again, we're
posted?
getting into a political issue.
It's not political.
And we're
It's
not.
a safety issue for our residents and for people that work and spend money in Hampden Township.
Ma'am, that's a political issue.
It's
We're
not a political issue.
I'm going to ask you.
It doesn't matter which political party you are from. If people do not feel safe living and working
Ma'am,
in
I'm trying to
Hampden
be
Township, that's
polite,
not a political
But I've
issue.
asked you to adhere to the rules, which is not to discuss political issues.
How is this a
because we are
political
not
issue?
allowed to do that.
Is bigotry a political issue?
Ma'am, I've told you about 4 times. I'm going to ask you, if you're not going to talk about the issues that are germane to tonight's meeting, I'm going to ask you to please.
Is this not the open comment section?
It is on township business.
You cut
and not
off a
political-
Hampden
and
Township
not
resident
political
for a
issues.
non-political question.
The question you asked is a political question.
How is it a political question?
I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to ask you to
So
sit down.
you are not going to
And if
answer
you wanna
your
keep people here
constituents
forever-
about your behavior.
If you want to keep people here forever, you can stand there. But
I don't
we're
want
not
to
going
keep
to
people.
discuss.
I am not interested in keeping people here forever.
Well, that's
And
what
I'm
you're
not
doing.
interested in being disrespectful to the commissioners, but I'm very concerned for the residents of this community. What do any of you have to say about this? Nothing.
I told you this is not a political
I'm
forum.
incredibly ashamed to be a member of this community. This bigotry is why our children are being bullied in school. It is because our elected representatives